YouTube launched in 2005 and now it beats every broadcaster on the planet in the one thing that really matters: attention.
I am listening.
You've probably heard people say that YouTube is the new TV. And by people, I mean me, because I've been saying this for ages. But what does that mean for the industry? And more importantly, what does that mean for creators? By the end of this video, you'll not only know the answer to that question, but you'll know what you could be doing to make the most of this seismic shift.
Tell me literally everything. Everyone, shut up!
So, YouTube is winning the living room. What does that mean and why should you care? Well, to put it lightly, the platform that you're already on has now become one of the biggest TV networks in the world. I'm talking about YouTube, by the way. Your content is no longer just being consumed on someone's mobile phone. People are now watching you on their big TV screens in their living rooms. In fact, YouTube holds 12.5% of all US TV viewing time. 12.5%, guys. Not only that, but it's been the #1 most watched channel for 11 consecutive months, which means they're beating Disney, Netflix, etc. Why have I blanked on all other streaming platforms? You know what I mean. And it's not just in the US either. In the UK, YouTube has become the second most watched TV platform, which means it's beating the likes of Netflix and ITV. Wild. And just to remind you guys, we're talking about a platform that we either already create content on, like I'm doing right now, or we have the ability to create content on. Can you imagine going back 20 years and saying to someone, by the way, in the future, you'll be able to use your phone to create content that's going to be played on people's living room TV sets? And this isn't a fleeting trend. YouTube are making some serious moves in the industry to solidify their space as the #1 TV platform. For example, YouTube are now the preferred partner for the FIFA World Cup that's happening this year. And if sports means absolutely nothing to you, I understand, I'm in your boat, then how about this? YouTube outbid ABC for the exclusive streaming rights of the Oscars.
I think I'm just in shock.
So the Oscars from like 2029 onwards will be exclusively streamed on YouTube. They're making some moves. They've even live streamed Coachella globally for free for the past several years. All of this to say that YouTube is no longer just a video sharing platform, they're actually acquiring cultural moments. Now, I can practically hear you screaming at the screen, why does this matter, Jade? Why should I care? Well, the reason why is because for the first time ever, we have the ability to acquire the same audience who are watching the Oscars, Coachella, the World Cup on the same platform. Our content can be appearing on the right-hand screen on that suggested tab alongside someone watching the World Cup final. That is insane. The opportunity for creators to be discovered are far higher and far greater than ever before, which means we are entering a time where the opportunities for us are going to be far greater too. And where these opportunities are going to come from will probably surprise you. Now, unfortunately, with any major industry shift always comes some panic. For us, the creators in the world, this panic is actually creating a few job opportunities for us. Let me explain. Traditional broadcasters, so the likes of BBC, ABC, CNN, ITV, I'm starting to remember more of them now. A lot of them are shaking in their boots. And the reason why is because the numbers simply don't lie. Cable viewing is down 39% since 2021, whilst broadcast is down by 21% in the same period. Now, these traditional broadcasters are all grappling with the same question. How do we adapt for the social world? And I know they're asking this question because I've spoken at several events where people have asked me this question on a panel. Everything from the Royal Television Society all the way through to the British Screen Forum. This is a challenge that the industry are actively trying to solve. I feel like Munya Chawawa explained this so well, and if you don't know who I'm talking about, this is who I'm talking about. During Edinburgh TV Festival, he basically blasted traditional broadcasters for ignoring the evolution.
Mic drop.
Now, fortunately, a lot of broadcasters are actively looking outside of their circles to try and find people who understand social audiences and they're willing to pay for it. What that means for you and I is that there are opportunities for us to consult with these companies, but also it means that they are opening their doors to us like they never have before. Broadcasting, the TV and film industries were previously very closed, and they're finally slowly starting to open those doors. Now, there are two different ways that creators are making the most of this huge shift. The first is being on screen. So it's being on the good old telly. Do you guys know GK Barry? I don't know why I always do this. I ask you questions. Like, I'm not on a live. You can't tell me like straight away. I'm going to assume that you do. And if you don't, this is who I'm talking about. GK Barry went on I'm a Celebrity, which is a huge show. And off the back of that success has got a contract with ITV, which is a huge broadcaster in the UK, to appear on more shows. The Sidemen basically recreated Big Brother for the modern age and then sold it to Netflix. The series is called Inside, by the way, and it features different creators inside this house. And then, of course, you've got Mr. Beast. Would it be a video about the creator economy changing if I didn't mention Mr. Beast? release, he created Beast Games, which became one of the most successful shows on Amazon when it launched. Do you see a pattern here? Creators are either creating their own shows and selling them to broadcast networks, or broadcasters are recruiting creators for their own existing shows as a way to borrow that creator's fandom and hopefully modernize their content. Not only that, but creators are also starting to work behind the scenes to shape this industry. This is a recent article by Deadline, which I was actually featured in. Feels so awkward to say that, but like how wild that I'm referencing articles and I'm like in the article. Anyway, the article was all about the creators who are shaping the industry behind the scenes by working as consultants. I'm one of those creators. I know, it's an exciting time. And I'm amongst some great company. You know what the really interesting thing is, though, is that a lot of the creators who are shaping this industry behind the scenes, they're not people who have a background in TV. I don't have a background in TV. There are people who had a point of view, a voice, built an audience online, and have now become these incredibly valuable resources to a very traditional sector. That could be you. So whether you want to be on screen or behind the screen, there are more opportunities to get involved in this industry than ever. So let's talk about some practical things that you could do to actually get these opportunities. The first thing you need to do, optimize your content for TV viewing. Head into your YouTube studio, click on your analytics, the audience tab. What we're trying to do here is figure out how many of your audience currently watch your content on TV. I'm actually willing to bet that you're going to be surprised by this number. Oh, snap. What I then want you to do is ask yourself, does your content work for that format? Like, does your content work for a 55-inch TV screen? There's a few things you want to pay attention to when you're asking yourself this question. Number one, what's the quality like? We need to be in 4K or HD. Come on, it's 2026. Two, is the audio clear? They're going to be watching on their TV. So it's not like your audio has to be the same as your favorite Netflix show, but it does have to be pretty crisp. Then you need to be looking at things like, is the text readable? Are you using B-roll to enhance the quality and the storytelling of your content? And of course, are you uploading content that's landscape and long form? Because that's primarily the content that people consume on their TV. Next up, you need to understand that the algorithm is the new commissioner, so you need to learn how to speak its language. If you don't know what I mean by that, commissioners are essentially people who purchase shows, right? So all the shows that we watch on TV, there's a commissioner behind the scenes who's seen the pitch deck, they've spoken to the production company, and they have given that show a green light, right? The algorithm, your data, your metrics, that is the new commissioner. Those numbers are actually the thing that will decide whether or not your content gets picked up by a brand or by a broadcast channel. But if we think about the fact that YouTube is now a broadcaster, a TV platform, a channel, whatever you want to call it, in that world, metrics and numbers matter. You need to be able to talk about your average view-through rate, your click-through rate, your retention, your impressions. You need to know those numbers, honestly, at the top of your head, so that when you speak to people at events, when you get invited to certain meetings, you're able to talk about essentially your broadcast figures, like your broadcast numbers, with ease, because those are the numbers that the people in that room are going to be paying attention to. A pro tip for me that I think a lot of people ignore is to understand your audience metrics too. This is going to become one of the most important things that you can know about your channel. Where do your audience live? How old are they? When do they tend to watch your content? You need to understand this information the same way the BBC knows this information about their audience. And the final tip from me, start serializing your content. Is that how you say that word? It just sounds like I'm saying serial killer. Why does my mind go there? I'm not sure. Now, this strategy is all encompassing, right? It can involve you creating episodic content where you've got different episodes as part of one series. It can involve you creating different parts of the same storyline. A really simple way to do this, if you're a vlogger and you're renovating or you're decorating, give that series a name and a numerical value for each episode. So instead of you just uploading a vlog where every now and then you're talking about the reno, you actually upload a dedicated vlog and you call it the Reno Diaries episode 1, the Reno Diaries episode 2. This simple change allows you to turn your content into a TV-first episodic viewing, and it helps shift your content into a format type that's more appealing for commissioners and brands. The industry is changing, as always. I feel like this change is one of the most seismic, but also one of the most exciting for current and future creators. You can find references to the different stats that I mentioned in the description below. If you feel like hanging around, I recommend watching this video. It's all about the death of traditional SEO on YouTube. It's an incredibly important video to watch if you are trying to succeed on YouTube now or in the future. Thank you so much for watching. As always, I can't wait to see you in my next video.